Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name's Carter. I love talking about movies, horror movies, superheroes, and comic books. Speaking of movies, today I just got out of seeing M. Night Shyamalan's newest film called Trap, which stars Josh Hartnett, Alison Pill, and his own daughter. I believe her name is Saleka. It could be Saleka Shyamalan. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I apologize. But Trap follows a serial killer who attends a concert with his daughter, and he learns that the concert is actually kind of a trap to get him entrapped by the FBI. I couldn't figure out any other words in that sentence besides trap. The only thing that came into my mind for every verb was trap. So Trap is written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. And it has cinematography by, and I apologize, I believe it's Sayamdu Mukdipram. I totally could be mispronouncing that. So I probably am. Before I get into my review, tell me what you guys thought about Trap down in the comments below. Do you love M. Night's films? Do you not love them? I think personally for me, he has a very hit or miss filmography, and I'll get into that in a minute. But starting out with my biggest positive of the film, I think the concept of Trap is really cool. Just a film set at a concert, and you involve a thriller, you make it a thriller with a serial killer. I think it's something really interesting that could be like a true classic if done correctly, and if you nail every single aspect of the film. And I think that M. Night gets that core concept down. The first 2/3 of this film is so interesting and engaging, and really just had me like locked in the whole time. I was so interested to see how Josh Hartnett and his character are gonna get out of this trap, and to see how he's going to maneuver everything, see how he's going to fast talk, or how his character is going to react to all of that. Because I think that concept in and out of itself is really interesting and really cool. Another big positive here that I have to mention is Josh Hartnett himself. His performance here is honestly probably the best I've seen him give in a long time. I mean, he was great in Oppenheimer last year, but this role just gives him so much more range, so much more to do, and you can really tell, like, he's trying so hard to be likable that it comes off as like weird and creepy, but he's also got a charm to him that like a lot of serial killers do, at least apparently, allegedly. And so it makes it like really easy for people to trust him. Like if you've seen the trailer, you see different people trust him, different people talk to him. So it's really interesting to watch him go and manipulate those people, to watch him go and talk to these different people, watch him try and, enact his will, or try plan A, plan B, plan C, and just kind of see what he does to these people. And Josh Hartnett is such a good actor to where this character is so despicable, like so unlikable, and yet you're cheering for Josh Hartnett the whole time. You want him to escape. You don't want him to get caught. You want him to escape. And I thought that M. Night Shyamalan did a great job writing that aspect of the script. Everything with Hartnett's character was really interesting, especially in the first 2/3 of this film. I also think that the pacing in the first 2/3 is really well done. It slowly builds and builds and builds, and M. Night uses a bunch of different tricks and techniques to make it all come together to just seem very eerie, like the hammer is about to fall at any point. There's so many close-ups in this film to where you feel like it's just they're staring right at you, reciting their lines to the camera. It's an interesting technique, and I don't think it's gonna work for everybody because so many of the dialogue scenes are like a shot like this. I'll have to edit my footage. It's like you're so close, and then the other character is like, but I think it just really adds to the overall vibe and feel of the film. It feels very unique, and I think that M. Night is one of the most interesting filmmakers working today. No matter what he makes, it's gonna be interesting. You can't ever go into an M. Night film and say that it's boring, unless, of course, it's The Last Airbender or After Earth. But out of those, 2 out of, 15 movies that he's done. It's probably not 15. I can never remember how many he's done. But still, his films are so interesting. And so I'm always engaged, always excited, or morbidly curious to see what he can churn out for us. And even when he makes movies like Old or Glass that I really don't care for, they're still extremely interesting, and Trap is no exception. Alison Pill also gives a great supporting performance. She is really good here. Did not know she was going to show up. There's a few other people that show up in here that are in the trailers that I thought did a great job as well. M. Night's daughter gives a good performance when she's like the performer, the star star, she's the singer. I believe that's kind of what she does in real life. And then when she has to like act, when it comes down to like acting, she does a decent enough job. But when you're going up against Josh Hartnett in this film, kind of hard to hold your own unless your name is Alison Pill. I think that the music actually is such a random tangent. The pop music didn't bother me. I'm not like a huge fan of pop. I mean, I'm not like a massive pop fan. But I was like, okay, this is actually like decent, like, you know. I mean, as far as directing goes, M. Night is a seasoned director. He knows what he's doing. Sometimes he can get a little over his head. Sometimes he can get his worst tendencies take the best of him. And getting into the mix, I think that the last third of this film kind of falls apart a bit. For me, there was a lot of really interesting scenarios, and then something happens in the last third to where it kind of switches up the core concept completely. And it just wasn't as interesting, as engaging, or as tense as what came before. It kind of removes a lot of the tension, a lot of the interest and intrigue about what's happening, and the questions that you have are kind of are answered, but they're not answered in like a really interesting way. I mean, in my opinion, I was like satisfied sort of with what I got, but not like really like, wow, that totally makes sense, that's really cool. I was like, oh yeah, that's good, that's decent. I wish there would have been more like oomph behind the answers that M. Night gives us in the last third. I wish there would have been more drive, more tension in the last third. I think it could have used a little more work, whether that's tightening the pacing a little bit in the last third or just maybe rewriting it all together. I just don't think that the whole thing works, and I'm trying so hard not to spoil. When you see the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. For me personally, that big I don't even know what to call it, that big event or whatever big thing that happens in the third act, at the beginning of the third act, really just didn't really work for me. It didn't quite stick the landing. So that's where my biggest issues come from. I mean, like I said, the casting is great, the performances are great, the effects are great. I mean, it looks like a concert film. The film looks phenomenal. It's very gorgeous to look at. I loved how they lit Josh Hartnett to where he always almost has shadows under his eyes when he's talking to people. And it's just like so menacing, and he just looks so scary, like he could snap at any moment. And so I really just carried the film for me, even when the film's writing really stumbled for me in the last third. Josh Hartnett's performance still just, you know, he put that movie on his shoulders and did just such a great job. I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad film by any means. I still enjoyed myself overall, but when it comes down to it, that last third really didn't quite work for me. So really, that's all I can say without outright spoiling the film. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about the last third. The comment section probably will have spoilers. If you do that, just make sure you comment and then do a reply as a spoiler. I'm trying to make sure that we preserve the film-going experience for as many people as possible. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give Trap a 7 out of 10. Kind of in that, it's not mediocre, but it's not on the verge of peak. I still can't think of a good name for it, so it's just 7 out of 10. Let me know what you guys thought about Trap down in the comments section below. If there's any other things you'd like me to review, check out, make a video on, be sure again to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you for all the support recently, and as always, have a great rest of your day.